Mr. Thomaes, before we start talking about whether Europe is a laggard or a winner, can I have a brief comment on the protest by Greenpeace this morning here at the venue of the European Business Summit?
Yes, we spoke with Greenpeace. I invited them to the press conference, and basically we agree and we disagree. We agree on the fact that indeed to limit the increase of the temperature on the planet by 2 degrees by 2050, we will need an enormous reduction of CO2 emission, much more than 30%, but we disagree on the tactics, how we can negotiate with the other blocks in the world, which have, of course, the large majority of CO2 emission to get there.
Greenpeace was not at all critical of companies that do support the 30% cut. What is the position of Belgian companies in general for you as representative of Belgian business? Do you agree with the need for a 30% cut, or would you like to see 20%?
For us, in general, it is crystal clear. We will all have to do a lot more than 30%. But our position is that Copenhagen has shown us very clearly, if you take unilateral steps and you impose legally binding targets on European industry unilaterally, and you think that that will be the leadership, that will be followed by the other continents, Copenhagen has proved that that strategy doesn't work. But if you continue to follow it, it's going to cost hundreds of thousands of jobs in Europe. And that's a risk we should not take. We should have a more smart strategy, whereby indeed we take initiatives, and we take initiatives as industry to do a lot, spontaneously, but let's not unilaterally impose those targets as legally binding targets as a tactical element in our international strategy.
It is clear that the climate sector also has the potential to create jobs. You're talking here at the European Business Summit also about the need for skilled jobs in Europe. What do you see as a challenge for Europe? What needs to be done in terms of encouraging more people to take up highly skilled technical jobs?
Well, I think that what we should do in Europe is look at what initiatives do we have in Europe. In the Netherlands, for instance, you have very nice initiatives. What are the good initiatives to encourage young people to go into science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and so on? And then let's get organized to really spread out those best practices throughout Europe, so that indeed these do not stay isolated initiatives but widespread throughout Europe.
The theme of the European Business Summit this year is Europe leading or lagging is chosen for a particular reason. What considerations did you have in determining this theme?
Well, I think with the crisis we have in history turned a page from the unilateral world dominated by the US to a multipolar world, a unipolar to a multipolar world. And the challenge and the issue is now, where will our position be? Because by 2050 we have only 4% of the world population. So how do we position ourselves? And will we be to a certain extent leading in that multipolar world, or will we not count anymore and be, as we say in French, quantité négligeable in the future?
Of course, we Europeans would like Europe to be leading, but honesty bids to say that there are many problems. The Eurozone is in trouble, unemployment is very high in southern European countries like Spain. The economy is not really picking up. We have a two-speed track basically in terms of economic performance in Europe. What hopes are there for Europe to turn that lagging into a role of leadership?
I think that's relatively simple. We know that there is a high number of problems. What we also know is that solving all those problems is feasible. Does require courageous decisions, does require a certain speed in decision making, But none of those are not feasible. And we have now proven with the European semester that we see the problem, that we are taking measures, and now it is a question to simply implement with discipline the system of the European semester. And we are afraid that sometimes Europe will not be severe enough. But if we do what we have decided, we can solve 90% of those problems.
José Manuel Barroso, one of the European leaders, President of the Commission, will be here later today. What is your message to him, very briefly?
Well, the most important message in the multipolar world of tomorrow is that we have two big priorities. Stabilize the situation in terms of confidence on the financial markets, and in the meantime build a huge bridge, and the most important bridge, between Europe and the emerging countries, so that we indeed prepare our future.
Mr. Thomaes, thanks so much. Good luck.